Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, man. Hunt the ball. Let's go, family on three. 1, 2, 3, family.
Hello, football family. Welcome into Huddle It Up Films. We're already in week 9. It's back from our break. My two aces in the hole. We got Jake Vogel at Real Jake Vogel and Garnett West at Garnett 478. Sergeant West back in the house. We're here to talk about this Ravens-Vikings game. The Ravens obviously coming off a bye week at home, long home stretch against an NFC team. And usually those NFC games are the least important on your schedule because the AFC games is your division games, your conference games. But for some reason, this game feels more important than that considering the long home stretch and the bye week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. Oh, go ahead. My bad. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, it's every game is a big game. You know, this league constantly shows us that any given Sunday, any NFL team can win. These guys are professionals. The Ravens got stomped by Cincinnati, and then the following week, the Jets beat them. So anything can really happen. And the Vikings are a good team that they haven't won a ton of games this year, but we'll get into that matchup.
Yeah, man. Just to go off what you were saying, like the Vikings are. It's like they haven't really put up a full game, or they might have had, but they'll come in late and then they'll steal one or almost attempt to steal one. So it's one of those things where if we come out there looking consistent, maybe it'll be hopefully it'll be a very convincing win, and we can build off of that going into the Thursday night game that we will have against Miami.
Yeah, Garnett, another reason it seems so important, 2 games in 5 days. So you really want to get this first one out of the way. So, Jake, how are you feeling about the team after this Cincinnati just debacle and then having the bye week, trying to get healthy guys back, but the people who are practicing are hit and miss. We're not getting everybody back that we were hoping for yet. So what's your temperature check of the team going into this game?
I think we are one more game away from being close to full strength. So I don't think we're going to have all the guys, all of the bullets in the chamber in this one, but we're getting there. Nick Boyle should be back really soon. If not this week, then definitely the Miami game. I think he might play this week. And then you talk about the other guys, Derek Wolfe, it'll be great to get him back. Sammy Watkins looks good at practice. So I'm pretty optimistic with where the Ravens are at. They've lost 2 games. I mean, it's tough. The teams that they lost to going into the season, you think, no, they're not going to lose to the Raiders and the Bengals, but that's where we are. And both of those teams are much improved from what they were last year. So I can't really complain too much. I just want to see positive progression throughout the rest of the season and really see the team play full games, kind of like how they did against the Chargers just a few weeks ago.
Same here. I just want to see full. He killed it on the back end. I just want a full game from beginning to end, and that's not just on the players. It's on the actually just the whole coaching staff as well. I want to see them, adapt and overcome, and I do mean adapt, especially with the playbook and using utilization of multiple players that we have. Putting players in the right position to be successful. And I think if we do that, down the stretch, ain't no telling where we can end up. And just consistency. And that's all I'm telling you.
Yes, Garnett, I try not to jump to conclusions early in the season or even mid-season because, my philosophy is once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen and the teams just change so quickly. We could be the hottest team in football going into the playoffs and we wouldn't be able to tell it, just like 2012. And at this point in the season, nobody could tell it. But I'm definitely can't wait to talk to you guys because we haven't talked a lot this week about like philosophical changes, how to attack, how we should do this and that. Because like Garnett, I'll share your feeling, buddy. Like there's some things that I definitely want to see happen. So let's start like we always do in this matchup. Offensive line, the Ravens have the ball. Offensive line versus this Minnesota front. Of course, the big news of the week in Minnesota, Danielle Hunter, their best player, undoubtedly almost, the way he was playing, is out. What is that, a torn pectoral muscle? Is that right, Garnett?
Yes, sir. It's a torn pectoral muscle. It's a huge possibility he'll be out for the season. which is going to play I was going to play it's a huge down for them. And then I hate to say it's going to be a positive for us, but, I want them to be on the field because I want to see, their best against our best so we can, they'll leave no doubt, so no stone unturned in my head. But hey, I take what I can get, man.
Yeah, at this point,
Yeah,
Garnett in the
I
season,
take
like
it.
I feel bad for Daniil, but
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
taking
take it.
any. I'll take it. I wish he would come back and play the other teams in the division later in the year, but definitely a big help for the Ravens to not have Hunter playing for Minnesota. Of course, former Ravens Michael Pierce uh, was back at practice on Wednesday, missed practice Thursday. He would be a big lift because they're not getting a lot out of his backup, Dalvin Tomlinson. And of course, you'll see some backups in there. Everson Griffin, of course, is a very good player. DJ Wanham looks like he'll be backing up. Amani Watts, he's the backup defensive tackle. So a lot of question marks on both sides of this matchup. The Ravens, of course, are very low on tackles. Who knows who's even going to be activated for this game? I assume that Tyree Phillips would be playing tackle just because of the lack of experience elsewhere. But go Villanueva, who's they're taking it easy with him still after the bye week. Tyree Phillips. So Garnett, kick us off. What do you see in this matchup between two of the not so strong spots on each team? And that's the offensive line of the Ravens, defensive line of the Vikings.
So with that being said, leaving off the Donnell Hunter, yeah, just to be sure, because I don't want to be incorrect, he plays on the left side, right? Donnell Hunter. I would,
Yes.
well, blood in the water. You go after where you see the blood, and basically, this is an opportunity for us to run on that side, and also just confuse whoever's playing that pass rusher. Like what I would like to see to help out the offensive line is like a short pass game, aka a screen game, popular, to help out. Just get whoever that edge rusher is confused. I think Villanueva he does good when he has to be aggressive, but when he has to be conservative, that's where it gets a little questionable. Uh, yeah, I'm just going to go for left or right, but other than that, Powers, I think he's going to do a good job, yeah, Powers going to do a good job. Bozeman has been steady Eddie all year. Same thing with Zeitler. And then when it comes to the right tackle, we're in a situation where we don't know Tyree Phillips or the guy. I don't want to mess up his name. How you said? Can you say it for me? The guy from
Obuehi,
Awahi,
Cedric Obuehi, yes.
Cedric Awahi. Like hopefully, I heard that he was getting spun up on the playbook and just being able to learn how to execute under our system. So I just feel confident just literally going to the left side for a lot of our business.
So I just wanted to clarify, though. Daniil Hunter plays on the left side of their defense, so that's over our right tackle.
Oh,
So,
right tackle. Okay.
so you could, yeah, might have misunderstood you there.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be the weak spot of each. The right tackle versus their left end is going to be backup city. So, Jake, how do you handicap this matchup? Can we actually be the better unit between the two?
I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty close to a draw, and I know that Minnesota's front just lost a key player, probably their best player. That's not really in question along their defensive front, so that helps Baltimore a ton in this matchup, especially with the weak tackle situation. McCary was playing really well, and I hope we get him back soon. Uh, but Phillips is going to have to step in there. I don't think Cedric is going to be ready. I'm sure he'll suit up and he'll be a backup option, but I doubt he would get the start. So I don't know. It's tough to say. Everson Griffin's an older guy at this point, but he still is a vet in this league and probably can beat some of our players. Tomlinson's not bad at all. And then Michael Pierce, we know pretty well. So it'll be interesting to see how much he can play. I know he's dealing with a little bit of an injury as well. But to handicap it, I think Zeitler's a plus for us. But then we probably have a minus at the right tackle position, and then you never really know with Alejandro. I think he can hold his own.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And then for those who didn't see it, I did a cut up of Cedric Obuehi on the channel. So I wanted to get your opinions on that real quick. Garnett, I know you saw that. What was your opinion on Abuehi?
Big man with quick feet. Man, he can definitely move, and he's good at. I can tell you can tell he's seasoned. Like he's really good at getting his quick set, being able to get get his feet down quick. The only thing I did not like for him to be that big is he doesn't use his arms. Like he allows the pass rusher to get his chest and then go off of that. Other than that, man, like it seems like in our system, which allows or amplifies the success rate of all offensive linemen, specifically tackles, I think he's gonna be I think he can be something decent with us. I believe, I hope so, but I do believe he can. But
Yeah, it would be nice.
yeah,
Jake, did you see that video? What'd you think? Same thing, I guess. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's always something that you should take with a little bit of like a grain of salt. When a player that was once a first rounder moves around the way he has, and is available, it doesn't necessarily speak to how good that player is. But I do have faith in Baltimore's coaching staff, to, like Garnett is saying, kind of amplify the positives of their skill set, and make the tackles look a little bit better in the system. So I think he could become a potential starter for us, and that would be great. But I'm not going to have super high expectations for a guy that has moved around the way he has.
yeah, I question whether the arms can be coached, Jake, because it's a guy with almost 36-inch arms and he doesn't use them at all. I mean, you could
Yeah.
really count the times. I think it was twice in the video where he actually extended his arms. And that's just like, you have to figure some NFL coach somewhere or college coach has tried to get him to use it. So at this point, I feel like it probably is what it is. But like to Garnett's point, his feet remind me of McCary's. And of course, McCary famously doesn't have any length. He was an interior offensive lineman. So if you have Lamar out there, and obviously he's slowing down the rush, if you can just mirror, maybe there is a place for Abuehi to eventually take over this spot as we go on. So, but yeah, I guess we don't expect him to play in this game. As Roman said today, he's still catching up with the playbook, which was kind of clear to me that he's not, he might be active, like you said, Jake, but he's not going to be run out there day one. So
Right.
the Ravens run game against Minnesota's run defense, it looks on paper like a huge advantage for the Ravens. The Ravens are fourth in the NFL at 4.9 yards per carry. Minnesota is 4.6 yards per carry allowed, which is 26 out of the 32 teams in the league. Now, Minnesota has some good inside linebackers, but as we mentioned, their defensive tackles, especially without Michael Pierce, has been soft. The thing is that when you look at those numbers, I mean, it seems a little deceptive, doesn't it, Jake? Because we're getting so little production out
Yeah.
of our running backs. That 4.9 yards per carry for the Ravens is pretty much about one man.
Yeah, it's a complete false number out there. People that don't watch the Ravens and they see that, they're like, "Oh yeah, they're still doing what they do. They run the ball well." No, that's not really the case. Lamar Jackson is, he is the offense. I think he has way more of a percentage of his entire team's offense than any player in the NFL right now. I think it's around 80 some percent, which is just crazy. Um, I I am slightly optimistic in this one that the running game can get going. They just had a bye week. They were able to evaluate the running backs a little bit more, see what they have, and implement some more run plays, or just different ones, and accentuate what is available in that room. So against the defensive line, they can maybe move a little bit, but those linebackers are really, really solid in Minnesota. Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks, and then Nick Vigil, all those guys. We used to see Vigil a good bit in the AFC North. I think he played for the Bengals.
Bengals.
Yeah, but all of those guys are good players, and we're gonna have to break some tackles at the running back position, and get some nice blocks. Maybe Nick Boyle is back, and that would be key. Patrick Ricard, Pancake Pat. Hopefully he can do his thing, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, Lamar is the engine that could, for this running game, and hopefully those running backs can contribute a little bit more.
Yeah, same way. Well, I think it's Lamar has like 6.3 yards per carry. I think that's what it is, or somewhere around there. I might be on or off, but I'm pretty close to it. But it's the fact that the running game has to grow tremendously. It can't just be on Lamar like how you guys have said. And what that starts is basically creating some holes for these some of these backs, and also them hitting the holes when they're there. And that's like the main thing that I hope we adjust. We just coming out the break, especially. I you know I know we just signed these backs that just came off the street, and I do understand that it's like a shooter's rhythm. You need a lot more. You need carries to get in a rhythm and understand what you're going behind or running behind. So hopefully this buy Baltimore some time to figure out like, okay, this is what the cutback lanes are here, just to get a good feel for it. And I think we could easily, I would say easily, I think we can do something, especially with the Lamar effect. But the main thing is just hopefully just do a little up tempo business as well, which would help them as well.
Loving the up tempo, and that's something I think that really needs to be done when you consider how effective that the Ravens have been really since Lamar has been here in the up tempo, the 2 minute, the 4 minute drill. I mean, it seems like we score in that situation every time. So definitely something I'm looking forward to. Also worth mentioning, Latavius Murray still isn't practicing. So this may be Devontae Freeman again, Tyson.
Freeman.
Well, we're going to have to see who's active. Maybe Nate McCrary. Is that what you're giving me
Yeah,
the signal for?
yeah. Nate
He's trying to
Dogg,
steer
you
me
knew
in
it.
there. Yeah,
Yes,
but
sir. Yes, sir.
but yeah, I would not mind to see. I think this is the kind of game where if the Ravens win this matchup, it's all over with. Like the Vikings have been very bad against the run, as the numbers showed. So if the Ravens, who have had trouble running, can establish some kind of running game, I think the Vikings are going to have a hard time keeping up with this Ravens offense, because the pass game of this Ravens offense is its strength. The pass game is where the playmakers are. Sammy Watkins back practicing. Not sure if he's going to play this week, but limited practices are a good sign. You have Bateman, you have Hollywood, you have Andrews. They're all cooking. Jake, what you thinking over there, man? What you looking at?
Man, I was just looking at the snap percentage of this defense that Minnesota has, and I am just blown away that both safeties have 100% of their snaps this season. It's really rare to see a guy not miss a single snap, even if it's a pure starter. So I'm just kind of impressed with that. Harrison Smith obviously is a great safety. He's been around. And they got Xavier Woods, who used to be with the Cowboys. And I think those guys are both playing pretty well. So we'll get into the passing offense versus their passing defense, I guess, in a second here. But I was just looking at that and really just thinking about that's going to be one of the key matchups, because Harrison Smith's a playmaker, and Lamar, he's been a pretty consistent player. You know, as far as turnovers go, for the most part of his career, but has thrown a couple this year, and I could see that being a slight issue in this one.
We'll see. I'm not very impressed with their cornerback. So, what do you think is the key to this game? Who do you think is going to get involved? Are you on board with Garnett and I with this up tempo? Like, talk to us about this Ravens passing game, not only in this game, but maybe speaking more broadly after the bye.
Yeah, I mean, up tempo would be excellent. Freeman clearly showed that he has something that the other backs haven't had, which is chemistry in the passing game and the ability to work in that up tempo. So I expect to see a good bit of him in this one, as well as whoever else is active. We still don't know what the deal with Tyson Williams is. If he is coming out of the bye and he's going to be getting some more targets and carries, we have no idea. It could be Nate McCrary or Le'Veon. So that's all interesting. I expect to see the wide receivers do some work. Hollywood is not going to have much of an issue in this one. Mark Andrews is obviously a huge target, and then Rashad Bateman, my guy. I hope that this is just another step forward, another breakout. He should have had over 100 in the last game. He didn't quite get there, but we'll see what happens in this one.
So Garnett, Jake mentioned the safeties, two very good safeties, but you look at their corners, Brashad Breeland struggling, Cam Dantzler's banged up. Who knows if he's going to play? Mackenzie Alexander, who you might have scouted, I believe he was out of Clemson. When I looked at them, all three of them are struggling against this hot Ravens receiving core. So this to me, Garnett, is another area that favors the Ravens.
Yeah, exactly. You hit Rashad Breeland. He is a serviceable corner. I give him that. I'm not gonna disrespect the man, but it's like the one thing that you can catch with Rashad Breeland on is basically if you catch him on a double move or anything of that, just be a good route runner or a hezzy or anything that requires him to be shifty. He wants to get his hands on you, and that's the fastest way for us to gain 15 to 15 plus yards. And I think we should be able to use that to our advantage. As you mentioned, Cam Dantzler has been hurt. Patrick Peterson,
He's out, right?
he's out. Boom. So right there, that's literally our bread and butter this game. I'm not saying we chunk the ball over 40 times, but we could easily set them up for significant success in the passing game. Eric Kendricks, he's one of the, if not the best, one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. So that's him and Mark Andrews. I don't know, maybe that might get canceled out, but I don't see the receiving core as a whole versus their secondary, the corner play getting canceled out whatsoever. So that's going to be very interesting.
That's kind of how I see it, Garnett. I could see Andrews having a relatively quiet day, not because he's not playing well, but just because the matchups are elsewhere. And you mentioned Brashad Breeland being an aggressive corner. Well, looky here. We have Hollywood Brown and Rashad Bateman on the field. Both of them are excellent route runners. Both of them have speed. Both of them are great at double moves. So that sets up really well. And that's part of the reason that I was saying, guys, that if we can run the ball at all, and I expect us to be able to run the ball considering Minnesota's run defense, that, man, we could really put this. I mean, we're about to get to the other side of the ball. But we could put a lot of pressure on a short passing offense to keep up with us. I could see the Ravens, if they come out sharp after a bye week, adjusted some things, like you said, maybe the running backs get into more of a rhythm. This could be a 30, 40-point game for the Ravens. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I do. I do think this could be a potentially in the 30 plus point game for us. Now, it really just all depends on the receivers to complete the play. I knock on wood. I don't want to see a Detroit debacle, but this is an easy way for them to put themselves on the map, man. This is an opportunity for Hollywood to literally put himself in the top 3 realm when it comes to yards, or God knows what happens.
Yeah, don't bring up old stuff there. That Detroit game's way past us, Garnett. Don't bring up old stuff. Jake, I mean, are you feeling the excitement on this, man? Like I'm kind of, I always get a little weary when I'm feeling like we could put up a big score. But I mean, are you seeing the good pathway to that?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I always like to temper my expectations, not get too hyped as far as what things could become. But I am 100% with you, thinking that the passing game could be really effective in this one. And if that running game gets going like we hope it does, then it makes the team pretty much indefensible. So
Right.
I'm right there with you.
So, Jake, how should the Ravens attack the Vikings? Get inside, put on your Greg Roman hat here. What's your plan of attack?
It's going to be a mixture of pound the rock early, but not always on first down. You have to be unpredictable. Find that balance, hit some play action deep shots. Give Lamar time in the pocket so he doesn't have happy feet and always feels like he needs to escape to create a play. And then after that, you just gotta break tackles on offense and do what other teams have done to us. I really think this is one of those classic games of whoever is more physical is going to win the game. If your trenches win, then you are likely the winner. And it's always the turnover battle matters. Keep the ball with your offense and take the ball away. I mean, these are all cliches, but they definitely matter in a matchup like this that could be pretty close with the 2 purple squads.
Yeah, that's the same way I think. Especially he hit it right on the head for me, man. Like there's been so many times where we look at the field and we knew on first down where the ball was gonna like it's gonna be a dive, or we just knew it was gonna be a run play. And that's the one thing that I never liked about our offense to a certain degree. It's like, man, just be unpredictable. Like what's hurting you for do a play action or a nice little boot or something like that. Just do something to give them an opportunity to be successful for that drive. And I think if we come out like that, that gives us an opportunity to really drive down the field successful with a lot of things. It opens up a lot of room for anybody. Not just Lamar with a running lane, but just for the running backs as well.
So for me, Garnett and Jake, what I want to see on this in this game is a sign of the future, because I really feel like this is the kind of offense or defense that we're playing where we can slice it a few different ways. But what I want to see is if they're having problems putting cornerbacks out on the field, this is why I called out on Twitter that I want to see a James Prochet day. If Sammy doesn't play, I wouldn't expect Sammy to practice, quite frankly. So getting him back is a big plus. But they do not have three cornerbacks. Heck, they don't have one that can cover Hollywood. They don't have a two that can cover Bateman. They're definitely not going to have a number three that can cover Prochet or Watkins. So let's, instead of running the ball into a pile with this work in progress running game, let's speed it up a little bit. Let's take some pressure off of Lamar, not by running the ball, but by just getting the ball out of Lamar's hands quickly and letting his playmakers make a play. I mean, we talked about how much Lamar is contributing to the overall offense. He's carrying the run game. Then we're taking big shots downfield. Lamar's getting hit a lot because he's hanging in the pocket. Let's put an end to all that. Let's get the ball out. Let's work on getting the ball out of Lamar's hands quickly, getting it into the hands of guys like Bateman, Watkins, Hollywood Brown, and let them get a 4, 5, 6, 7 yard first and 10 instead of trying to establish a running game and keep trying to run it. So I want to see this identity of the offense slowly switch into more of a short passing game. Take out 10 runs, put in 10 short passes, one read, boom. Prochet is going to win quickly or Bateman's going to win quickly, even if it's a 4-yard gain. Who cares? It's a high percentage pass. You're going to complete 80% of them. So that's what I'm really looking to see in this game. And I really feel like, guys, I want you to comment on this before we switch sides of the ball. If we can get what I'm talking about going, a short passing game, it really takes the pressure off of Lamar. It really takes the pressure off the running game. Our running game will get better because we're going to be less predictable with it. I really think that the sky is the limit for this offense because we can attack deep. We can attack intermediate. If we can just get some kind of consistent short game going, this could be an offense that could carry a bad defense into the playoffs. Garnett, why don't you go ahead and give me the first one on
Yeah,
that?
so I definitely agree with that. Absolutely. It basically, you're helping the tackles with what you're describing, and
Thank you.
and that's the biggest thing. Like, I've been right there pounding the table with you for literally for weeks after weeks. Like, man, we're watching other teams with almost similar problems, disguise their problems with a quick passing game, which is like a run game. So, and yeah, I concur with what you just said. Tremendous, like all the way through, man. And I think that really does like the success we had earlier this year, where we was getting the ball out to everybody, which helped out the offense and Lamar, like a Prochet, Duvernay. It's not the fact that they're game changers, but the fact that they're eating up the zone. They're letting them do the work. You know what I mean? So I agree with you on that standpoint.
Right, and Jake, my other part of the point is this is already the ninth scoring average. We're averaging 26.7 points a game. So with all these problems with the running backs and the new passing scheme, we're still a top 10 offense, a top 9
Right.
offense. I could see this being the highest scoring offense from here on out, even with the tough schedule and winning playoff games with offense that can reach its full potential.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you guys. It's something that I've thought a good bit about too. Just the utilization of that quick passing game. It really is an extension of the running game. You hear that all the time. Last year we saw Pittsburgh do it. They had an unreal streak of wins. I think it was maybe 11.
Yep.
Obviously, the Ravens were able to do that in 2019 with 12 to end the season, but. Um, that's how they started the year. And Big Ben had a noodle of an arm, and they were still able to do that with their offense. And what Lamar has at his disposal, his talent is far superior to what we saw in Pittsburgh last year. So just adding that element to this game would be huge. It would give something to other teams that they would have to prepare for. And then it would also open up the actual running game too, which is another whole thing. So I'm 100% for it, and I agree with you, Jason. This Ravens offense could kind of be the new face of the team. I think we've already seen that where they are the ones carrying it. The defense has regressed a little bit, and they've had injuries, but the offense doing its job is also going to help the entire team win games.
Right. And, we have basically problems that aren't going to fix themselves probably at running back, unless Ty Son or Nate McCrary come on. And most definitely at offensive tackle, we're not going to get plus play out of our tackles. It's a problem that's not going to get better. But when I went back and really studied this during the bye week, and I'm looking at it, it's like this offense, if it could just get an extension of the running game, is a great phrase, going, then the running game is going to be enhanced. Everything's going to be enhanced. Those tackles are going to be enhanced, like Garnett mentioned. So, I'm not always super positive. I call it like it is, especially on this show. It's what we do. But I really do see the potential of this Ravens offense taking a next step. And I don't think that's just like purple goggles or hope. But on the other side of the ball, the Ravens definitely have some problems. And this Minnesota team is extremely talented. I mean, you have superstars in Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, my draft favorite from a few years ago, Adam Thielen, solid as a rock. You have a great fullback, by the way, in C.J. Ham, one of the only other teams that really uses a fullback. You have a right tackle, Brian O'Neill, one of the best in the game. So you're looking at Pro Bowlers all over the place against this Ravens defense that has been struggling. But on their O-line is where Minnesota is really, really hurting. So again, you're talking about the battle in the trenches, Jake. Like this is advantageous to the Ravens. The Ravens should handle this matchup. Going from left to right, Christian Darrisaw, left tackle for the Vikings, making his, second or third NFL start? Something like that. I messed it up. But it's second or third NFL start. High draft pick. It's going to be it's a second start. It's going to be a great player, but obviously inexperience. Their center is out with COVID, so they're going to have a backup center in the game. Both guards have played poorly. We mentioned the right tackle is very good, but there's a lot of room for this Ravens defensive line to work. Of course, the big news coming out of Baltimore is that Brandon Williams, one of the Ravens' longtime best players, hasn't been practicing. Doesn't look like he's going to, or game time decision at best, but he's really cutting it close to being able to play this week in a position where Derek Wolf's still out. So the Ravens are missing some key pieces as well. So the Ravens are going to need Matabike to step up. They're going to need Calais to step up. I imagine Jelly Ellis is going to play. Wish Michael Pierce was still here. It'd be a good game for him. And then Broderick Washington hopefully can get active. So lot to set up there. What are your thoughts? O-line of the Vikings versus D-line of the Ravens. Yeah, this is going out to Garnett.
Yes, I had to turn on my mic. So
check. Is this thing on? Check.
Yeah, I know, right? Jesus. Yeah, check. Is Roger Washington is on the field? Check. You know what I mean? That's where I want to start.
There we go.
Yeah, I want to see if Roger Washington get an opportunity to actually play for once, man. This is one of those games where you have everything lines up for him. Like, to be honest with you, like it. We don't fake the funk around here. We're not the Purple Patrol. We keep it honest. Brandon Williams, I understand he's the nose guard along with Jelly. Those are supposed to be nose guard, but what I've seen from them is just the injury might be the reason why he's not has not been producing or whatever. I don't know, but like I'm at to a point where give Roger Washington an opportunity, man. Like it's not going to hurt us anymore, and he just needs more snaps under there. But I feel that Calais Campbell, on the other hand, he's been literally destroying people at will, consistently. Now, when it comes to this, now when it comes to Matabuke, it's been reversed. It's like every week we've been asking for consistency from him, and we have not seen that. And I would like to see some consist. This is like I said, this is a perfect game for the young bucks to actually strive or thrive in. And then I'm trying to think. So it'll be those two with Calais. Yeah, man. I think this is an opportunity for them. Like I said.
Yeah, it's a short unit. It's a short unit, Jake. You're talking about Broderick's definitely going to have to step up and play if Brandon can't. But you have basically 1 3 tech in Matabike. You have one potentially nose tackle in Ellis, and then of course Calais can be moved all over the place. Broderick Washington is that defensive end, so we might only be like 4 strong. May see a practice squad call up here. But that man, Jake, that Minnesota interior of the offensive line is pretty is as bad as you're going to see really at the NFL right now, with missing their starting center as well.
Yeah, the thing that worries me in this matchup is not the offensive line. It's not the interior. It's the guy that's behind that. Dalvin Cook, obviously one of the best running backs in the NFL. Somebody that can break tackles. He's explosive. And if he gets a crease, I don't care if those guys are mediocre that are playing in that interior. If we have a weakness up front, if Brandon Williams isn't playing and he hasn't been playing to his best ability, and Calais gets doubled or something, it's still not necessarily a great matchup for the Ravens. It's something that they could take advantage of in the passing game, and they really need to win that battle in the trenches. But I still do fear the running back, or really 2 running backs. Madison behind him is a really solid player too, but that battle is not over until you bring down the guy with the ball. Period. So I hope it's a huge game for Calais Campbell. I hope that the edge rushers, something that you guys didn't talk about, and they aren't traditionally interior players that move around a ton. But if we can get the Vikings into 2nd and long, 3rd and long, moving those guys around. Pernell McPhee, that's somebody that can clearly move around the entire defensive line. He could be a little bit more involved there in the middle of those trenches. So I hope that this is one that the Ravens take full advantage of, but I am not 100% in on it being a domination.
So what about you? Are you more towards me, Garnett? Do you think this is a spot where the Ravens will handle the Vikings, or are you more skeptical like Jake is?
I think I'm somewhat in between, because the fact that like I got, if they make adjustments for us, that it's all about what they do against it. But I think when it comes to one-on-one battles, I believe we can take them. Like, it's just the fact that, can we bring them down? That's been our biggest problem the whole year. Like tackling has been our biggest issue. I think the efforts has always been there of blowing, getting to the ball. It's just, can we finish at the ball? And I do believe we can stir up the pot, when it comes to the interior play.
Okay, well, let's talk about the run game then, because it seems to be the biggest worry with this so far, with the line play, as far as the line play is being able to get Dalvin Cook on the ground. Both teams are actually ranked 11th in yards per carry and yards per carry allowed. Minnesota is rushing for 4.5 yards per carry. Again, that's 11th in the league. The Ravens, even after that Bengals game, only giving up 4.2 yards per carry. That, as I said, is 11th. So this run game, I think, is going to be very important for Minnesota, as you guys mentioned. Dalvin Cook, tough guy to tackle. He's explosive. He's quick. He's got good balance. He's been in that system. And they're, of course, running that Kubiak scheme, which is just so familiar to him, but it's also familiar to the Ravens. Now, we've seen this. Not only did Kevin Stefanski, the Browns coach, come from Minnesota, but Kubiak was a former coordinator here. We've seen this influences in San Francisco. We've seen it with Tennessee and Derrick Henry. So, when the Ravens played the Titans, there's a great video on the channel of how we held Derrick Henry 18 carries to 40 yards. It was 5 men across. We basically loaded the line with 5 men and just penetrated those gaps. Matabika had a great game. But yeah, it's going to be a real challenge with Dalvin Cook in Minnesota because they choose the right kind of lineman for it. They like those light, mobile linemen, and of course, they have a running back that hits that hole pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right about that. 4.5 yards per carry for them, tells a little bit more of a true story than Baltimore, like we mentioned earlier. Kirk Cousins is not quite the same as Lamar Jackson out there. So that's really about the running backs and their offensive line. So
I mean, Kirk does get the -1 kneel downs down when they win.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he does contribute, just not in the same way as Lamar.
Yeah, not quite the same. So it's going to be a challenge, and I think we can take advantage of it. Just like you mentioned, if the team puts all of their energy into it, like they did against the Titans, they can absolutely do it. Even if Brandon Williams is banged up, because Calais Campbell was a monster in that game. Pernell McPhee, obviously huge in that one. So,
No, but the problem with that is, Jake, you have these receivers that we're about to get to where
yeah,
I don't know if we can go 5 across. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to be looking for big games from, a Josh Bynes and a Patrick Queen. I mean,
Yep.
we've seen, what do you think about Bynes and Queen and their new roles on rundowns here?
I love it. We've kind of talked about it on here for a while and previously, just not even on the show. Coming out of college, it seemed like Queen fit more as a will linebacker in a 3-4. And so far, with Josh Bynes taking over that Mike spot, being more of the thumper and actually relaying the calls, it has freed up Patrick Queen to just be his athletic self. Limits him on the field, taking less snaps, but he's able to fly around and he's played a lot better. And obviously, PFF is not it's not the
No.
Bible. It's there are problems with grading systems anywhere, but his grades have been much better since Bynes has taken over too, and that probably means something. So I think it's a positive for sure.
Yeah, he's allowed to play freer, because he doesn't have all this responsibility. So, Garnett, what are you feeling about stopping Dalvin Cook over here?
Yeah, we always talked about Queen moving back to the wheel. That's where he's been playing his whole time ever since playing linebacker, especially when he was at LSU as well. He mentioned that in a press conference as well. He felt most comfortable playing at will. Hopefully, down the road once he finally get the wits to play middle, I think he'll maybe be successful. I hope down the road, but for now, he's been playing lights out to me. Is like the tackling's got a lot better, just playing more freely and fast. He's not having to think a lot, so he's able to make 100% speed downhill to make those plays. Bynes, the seasoned veteran, literally is doing everything correct almost. It's weird, like watching him play and then realizing how old he is, and then he's moving fast because he knows what's going on in front of him and he knows what's happening behind him, and that plays a tremendous part when it comes to them going against their line, the full, the running game, which including the fullback. Bonds does a good job of getting off blocks from what I've seen. So I think CJ Ham, which is a really good fullback, I think that does good. But I think Queen, if knock on wood, I think Quinn is going to have a successful day against Dalvin Cook. Shockingly, that I'm usually the negative Nancy from what I've told, but this time I'm trying to be positive.
I like it, and I think Adafio Way is going to be play a big part in this game too. I hope he plays a lot just to chase those zone runs down from the backside. I mean, because he's as fast as Dalvin Cook. I mean, relatively speaking, he might be faster. Who knows? But especially the way they ride Dalvin Cook, and he's always banged up, man. Like they've run Dalvin Cook into the ground. So, but yeah, Adafio Way I wanted to mention before we went to the passing game, just with his pure speed, chasing down plays from the backside is not something that this Ravens team has seen since the days of Adalius Thomas. So he can be big in this game against the run game, try to prevent some big plays. So play fast, play discipline. Really, discipline is the key to this, and it's a great transition into the passing game because, like we mentioned, these Minnesota offense is very predictable. It's been run for a long time under many different coordinators, but Clint Kubiak is Gary's son who is running this offense now. The key in the pass defense is discipline, guys. I mean, it's not this isn't going out on a limb. They're going to try to stretch you left. They're going to try to bootleg Cousins right. They're going to have receivers at every level. If you bite too hard on the run game, then somebody's going to be open. So, I'm sure discipline is being preached this week that you cannot over pursue. You've got to stay. If you are the left defensive end, if you're the left outside linebacker of the Baltimore Ravens, or if you're the off-ball linebacker on the strong side, you're really just going to have to stay home and stay patient because Kirk Cousins is going to be rolling out bootlegging 3 to 5 times in this game, just like we see from Tannehill, Baker Mayfield, Garoppolo, and the rest of those offenses. So, but aside from that, these guys have some serious weapons. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne's come on. Their backup tight end. Help me out here, Jake.
Yeah.
Conklin.
Tyler
Yes,
Conklin.
Tyler
Yeah, he's
Conklin.
been
Now-
around. He's been around.
Now, when I watched him last week, the first play or the first couple of series, they had him split out wide and they hit him deep. They went after him deep. So he has some skills too, but the weapons on this team are ridiculous. Irv Smith is a big loss, though, Garnett. He was lost before the season started. So Ravens, let's go ahead and read off the numbers. This Minnesota pass game is 18th in yards per attempt. So what that tells you at 7.1 is a short passing game. Kirk Cousins has some ridiculous numbers: 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 69% completion percentage. Yet they're 18th in yards per pass. So that tells you it's a lot of short stuff. Tackling, once again, is going to be important. The Ravens, of course, are very bad yards per pass, 28th in the league, allowing 8.2 yards per attempt. That's got to change. So there's all the numbers. There's the setup. Garnett, kick us off for this. What are we going to do against this Minnesota Minnesota pass attack?
First, I would like to say when it comes to going against those stellar receivers is basically you can't bite on double moves, as like you said, Jason. That's the first one. The second thing is basically just read your keys and follow suit, like you guys said as well. Don't what you see is what you might not see, or what you might. Yeah, I guess that terminology. You know what I meant. So it's one of the things where just don't bite on the first thing you see. Basically, the moral of the story. Safety wise, that they love manipulating safeties out of the spot from what I saw on film. And the main thing is basically if they can get you out of position, they're taking the shot if it's clear as day. But when I saw from Kirk Cousins, as you read off the stats, he's going to dink and dunk you. Is basically the defense just got to stay patient because I feel that the ball is going to find them if the time when the time comes. So that's the main thing I'll say I'll take away from our defense going against the receivers. We know who they're capable of doing, but I just feel like if we just play patient, like you just said, man, I think that we can do some damage against them or prevent them from doing damage, I should say. And I think Marlon, he is very thirsty to have a bounce back game as well.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% there. Marlon is going to be key. I was kind of thinking this would be an ideal game to do some double teaming. Justin Jefferson, you might do a double team a couple times, or maybe more than a couple times against him. And then I could also see some sort of bracket coverage against Adam Thielen. And then the other guy that you have to at least consider in this game is KJ Osborne. It just is like seared into my mind from one of the Vikings games this year. I think it was overtime, and the Vikings won it on a KJ Osborne touchdown reception, left side of the end zone. I really should remember the game, but just that name that nobody's thinking about, that would be the kind of thing that the Ravens would let up a touchdown against, and I would be furious. So I hope all of those guys can get locked down. Obviously, the most focus should be on Cook, Jefferson, and Thielen. And this is one of those games that you have to plaster to the man. And also, whenever the defensive line can get pressure on Cousins, just be ready for the ball, whether that's a safety or a corner, because Cousins, he tends to throw it even when he's getting pressure, and it might not be a great situation for him to go ahead and throw it. He sometimes throws some prayer balls, and you have to be opportunistic in this game.
Yeah, and if he's on rhythm, he's going to light you up. You mentioned he's almost 70% completions, only 2 interceptions. So it's going to be tough. And, the other thing I noticed is that they are not afraid to move these receivers around. You'll see Thielen in the slot, and you'll see Jefferson in the slot. Or you might see both of them on the outside and KJ Osborne in the slot. So they don't have a true slot. Seems like they want to match up where you're weak. So it'll be really interesting to see whether, like, for instance, Marlon's going to cover Jefferson no matter where he moves. You're in the slot, wherever, left side, right side, or if the Ravens keep their own guys in their spots and then really just try to give help to wherever Jefferson is. I could see it playing out both ways. Now, I've been on record this week, guys, while you guys were away. I don't know if your ears were burning, but I'm talking about leaving Marlon on the right boundary and let him do his thing as the X receiver, because I feel like we're putting too much pressure on Marlon Humphrey. Garnett, how you feel about that, man?
I completely agree. Like, I think we're asking way too. To be honest with you, we're just asking way too much of our corners to play a lot of man and just hold it down to a certain degree. Like Marlon, like the whole situation with Marlon last week. I hope we learn from it and reconsider some things. I know we've blown some tackle with allowed him to go off a little bit more than extra, I should say. But you hit around the head, Jason. Just give the man, help him out. If we play two over the top and bracket over or shade over, just give him some room for error if he gets too aggressive, because I want him to be aggressive against receivers of this caliber, especially like a Jefferson. Give him opportunities to make a mistake instead of like, hey, it's on you. If you don't get it, we're screwed.
Yeah, Jake, he looks worn out to me, and like we're asking him too much.
Yeah.
Are you with me on this? Just leave him there and compensate for Averett, Westry, compensate wherever else you have to, but just let Marlon be Marlon.
Absolutely. With you guys there. I think he still is not 100%. I mean, in a football season, is anybody 100%? I don't know. Probably not. But he definitely looks beat out there sometimes. Like all of the weight of the defense is on his shoulders, and it's too much to bear for one guy. He's a great player, but he's probably dealing with some injuries and playing against some of the best athletes in the world. So if we can kind of eliminate some of his other responsibilities and just put him on one side, and mix up the coverages, a little bit of zone here, a little bit of man here, give some safety help, like I mentioned, like Garnett mentioned, you two, then I think he will bounce back in a big way.
Right. And when a player's struggling, what do you ask him to do? Go back to the basics. So that's what I'm looking for from Marlon. Just let him be where he was when he broke in and was dominating before we just started moving him all around. And yeah, Jake, to me, he looks exhausted or injured or something. Like he's just, trying so hard and been asked to do so much. So, we've mentioned that this Minnesota offense has so many weapons, yet they are 18th in the league in scoring, 23.3. It doesn't make sense. I mean, even with the bad offensive line. So it's time to put on our Wink Martindale, our weekly full wink, half wink, no wink. What kind of wink are we bringing here? Because Kirk Cousins, by the way, lights up blitzes, lights you up against the blitz like Joe Burrow does, but he's very bad under pressure. So again, it's one of those metric things where they don't make sense. You just kind of gotta eye test it and see what you feel. Now I'm going to give my impression first on this one. I feel like when we do blitz, we should try to get pressure with 4 men first. Use Matabike and Calais Campbell to really try to beat these guards that aren't as talented as they are. But that we're not going to just not blitz the whole game. When we do blitz, I want to see Patrick Queen up the A gap. I want to see Adafi Owe roaming or Tyus Bowser roaming in that A gap. Brand new center, coming off the COVID. He just found out he was starting today, Thursday, so you're talking about, 3 days to prepare. I am testing the heck out of this center up the middle. Forget about those predictable corner blitzes that Kirk Cousins can burn. Let's get pressure right in his face. So go ahead and argue with me or back me up or just say we shouldn't blitz at all or we should be blitzing them. What do you got? Wink Martindale time.
No wink. I'm not winking whatsoever today. That's Sunday. I'm sorry. I'm like my eyes are wide open. No winks.
No wink at all.
No wink. I'm going to give I am going to give an honest chance to Adafe Owe in Houston to get off the edge and do their job. Let them get in a rhythm. And also, I understand B will, possibility that he might not start, but put Calais Campbell in the middle, put in the infamous race car package. Have Calais and McPhee in the interior, man.
Jake was mentioning McPhee earlier. He should be able to beat these guards and centers too.
Absolutely, just give them an opportunity to see what you can do, and then once we get to a certain point of lead, that's where we can get creative and do those things. But like hopefully we learned our lesson blitzing a man that is good against the blitz. It's weird how you said it, like how he's good against the blitz, but what was the second part of it?
He's bad under pressure.
He's bad under pressure, but
so it's right. So when they actually are blitzing, he's good, but when they send 4 men and he's under pressure, they're bad. So it goes back to that 4-man rush. You know what I mean? Like if you can get pressure with 4 and drop 7, that's where he has problems. You bring 7, he's going to find somebody real quick with that dink and dunk. That's what it tells you about Kirk Cousins.
I'm not winking.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I know Jason was a little bit different than Garnett, but
I'm saying we're all going to blitz, Jake. I'm just going to take a wild guess and say we're going to bring at least 1 blitz in this game.
Oh, I mean, we're definitely going to bring 10, at least 1. I think Garnett knows that we're bringing at least 1. In my opinion, yes, Kirk Cousins is a vet in this league, and he has been around much longer than Joe Burrow. But I do feel like Wink's scheme, his exotic blitzes, his pressures would be able to get to Cousins maybe a little bit better than what the Ravens were able to do against Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. So I'm kind of with you, Jason, that I'd like to see a 4-man rush first and foremost. And then maybe as the game goes along, the Ravens might be able to get a lead. Then maybe you mix in a couple other things. But I would really like to see more of our pass rushers all out on the field at the same time. I feel like we haven't seen enough Tyus Bowser, Adafe Owe, Justin Houston, Pernell McPhee, all on the field, pass rushing at the same time, because they'll put them on the field, but then they'll drop some of their best pass rushers in coverage, and it's infuriating sometimes. It's not because they can't cover. Tyus Bowser is one of the best coverage linebackers, especially at the outside linebacker in the entire NFL. But I would like to see him, go against some tackles here and there. And I'd like to see Owe kick inside a little bit more and just see what the guys can do in those 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations. So I'm with Garnett, 4-man rush, please. But I also realize that we're going to be sending some blitzes here and there.
Yeah. My only request is I want to get home with the 4-man rush, and all the numbers are telling you to do that. Plus, it's a good idea to, like you said, I love what you said about just getting McPhee on the field, no way, on the inside with Bowser, with Houston. Put those pass rushers on the field. To do that, though, we're going to have to be really effective on first down, stop some Dalvin Cook and a couple tackle for loss. But Kirk Cousins does not like to take sacks, just like most older quarterbacks. He's only been sacked 10 times this year in 7 games. So it's going to be tough to actually sack him. You have to harass him into some bad throws. And he hasn't made very many, 2 interceptions. So definitely good. So, hey, here we are, fellas. End of the show. It's final thoughts. It's time to bring this thing home. It's time for Garnett to sing a song if he's got one. It's that time of the show. Predictions. Whatever you got to say, guys.
Yeah, so I'll just start off. Let's just say we get the. Oh, it's him. Oh, my bad. It's Jake.
No,
All
no, I
right.
was
No,
I
no,
was
no.
giving the
We're all pointing there.
Oh, okay. Got you. All right. Cool. But anyway, let's. All right. Okay. Let's go. So I'll break it down like this. Let's just say we'll come out on the field, offense first, and just say first thing we do, play action or some of that RPO. Let's just throw an RPO at them just to get a good feel of what the linebackers are reacting to, what their pass rushers are reacting to. That's what I would like to see. Also, if Le'Veon gets on the field, not the bill, wow, on the field, I would like to see him being used in the actual passing game. And that's the one thing we have not seen. Crap, we haven't even seen a screen, to be honest with you, in our offense. I want to see us take the next step like how we've been talking about, and I feel like we'll be successful. Now on the defensive side, we just discussed that, but I would like to see Tyus Bowser more involved. Like it's almost feel like I don't see
Mhm.
him enough on the field. Like I don't know
Yeah.
his snap count ratio, but it's like it's a
Um,
weird thing.
Yeah, Tyus has kind of disappeared a little bit after having such an impact, getting his hands on the ball football last year. It has kind of been a very quiet year for Tyus Bowser impact plays. Jake, do you have that number up?
I'm looking it up for us here in a second. Just give me
Yeah,
one more second.
yeah, and Garnett, I feel like on the offensive side, really some screen passes would really help. I talked about the short passing game. I didn't even mention the screen passes because we just never seem to. We give up on them pretty quick. We did last year as well. At about midseason, we weren't running them, so it would be great to use Le'Veon in some way, but I really don't have high hopes for that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm the same way. It's one of those things where I have high hopes for a Duvernay speed sweep once a game more than a screen happening in our offenses. It's crazy. It's mind boggling. But we with a team that pulls this much, you think we'd be a very successful screen team in a way, which blows my
Right,
mind.
Yep. So I found the number. It's 66.15% for Tyus Bowser on defense,
right. So
which
that's
is
that's
it's
that's
a
a little
respectable number.
heavier.
Hey,
Yeah, it's
to give reference, sorry to interrupt you, Jason. Adafe Owe, our rookie, is at 67.26, which is, a percentage and some change above Bowser, which is just really interesting that a rookie can do that.
Yeah, and it's typical of Ravens the rotation. We like to keep people fresh, so it's not surprising. But the surprising part to me is Jake. Like, I've noticed him on the field a lot, but I haven't noticed him making a lot of plays like he had last year. So whether it be a pressure here or there, or dropping into coverage and really taking something away, it'd be nice to get 2020 uh, Tyus Bowser back. But yeah, overall thoughts on this game, and something else I threw out was using Duvernay in the backfield. Ken McCusick likes the idea. I had somebody else, that I respect very much, say that that's something he would like to see. But just like if Duvernay is, we noticed during the Bengals game that Duvernay got tackled for a 5-yard loss on a jet sweep. You know how much attention you have to pay to Duvernay to get him like that? Like teams are actually paying attention to Devin Duvernay, unlike our running backs who they could care less about. So I would love to see Duvernay lined up in the backfield and just, even if it's just an RPO and not just a read option, you put the ball on his belly, pull it out, and hit somebody on a slant. Like Duvernay is going to move people when he's in motion.
Yeah, yeah. For me, that's something that I've talked about for a while too. Duvernay is a special player with the ball in his hands. He showed that ability in college, and he's definitely shown it in the NFL. So, the more we can get it to him, if that's kind of transitioning him into a little bit more of a running back role, I'm all for it because that's a weapon on the field. And then you talk about really being able to use Prochet more as a wide receiver, and you still got Duvernay out there, and then you got the other guys, Bateman, Hollywood, Watkins when he gets back. You're talking about a scary offense, and that's not even mentioning one of the best tight ends in the NFL, a guy that's at the top of the league this year, Mark Andrews. So the offense could be really exciting. It already has been pretty great this year, and I'm looking forward to what we can see on Sunday and for the weeks to come. So I'm with you guys there. For the defense, we just hit on it. I want to see the pass rushers get after Cousins. I'll give a fun prediction. So Cousins only has 2 interceptions so far this year. I think he throws 2 in this game. So that'll double his total. The Ravens hopefully win that turnover battle, especially with Cousins throwing 2. So they'll at least come out even. But I think they can win that battle, and this should be a pretty good game.
So who catches those interceptions?
I'm gonna go with Chuck. Chuck Clark gets 1, and give me Tavon for the other one.
Okay, okay. I'll allow it.
It's a little bit of a bold prediction, but that's what I got.
Hey, maybe we'll get Tyus with his first one and get him kick started. That would be a nice one. Would love to see Marlon turn around and get 1. That would be really sweet, especially against whatever receiver he's covering is going to be good. Mine is like I'm going to give a what to look for or what I want to happen, and it's pretty simple. I just want to see us get out to a fast start in this game. We are in a stretch here with all these home games in a row. We're coming off a bye. The end of our season is brutal. Like I said, we've been sleeping in our own beds for a month, like literally. Minnesota's coming to town, an NFC team that doesn't see us very much. I just want to see us get off to a fast start. Maybe a score touchdown, a stop, and then another score. It's 10-0. This dink and dunk offense is in Baltimore in the cold weather, and then all of a sudden it could turn ugly. Like even with all the firepower Minnesota has, they need to be able to, like they say, you can't come from behind and that kind of thing. Minnesota is not an explosive offense if you take it away. They're a dink and dunk control West Coast, Kubiak offense. So I really want to see us get off to a fast start. This is the week for it because of all the what I've said. We've got coming off a bye week. Our record's good. If we get out to a fast start, this game I think is going to be ours. If we let this team hang around, they have the kind of weapons that can really, really wear on the Ravens. So first quarter, first possession, first half, all of that to me in this game is more important than it would be in a normal game. So, and I know we just gave our final thoughts, but what would you like to see happen in this game? If you could just put one thing real quick, Garnett, one thing you want to see.
Consistency. That's my one word. Just consistency with everything. Really, if we're gonna do something, we just be consistent about it. If we're gonna run the ball, with running backs, instead of just having 4 carries with a back, let them have more than like literally Lamar had 14 or 12 carries last week.
Right. And everybody else has 8. Right.
Yeah. Something like that. Just be consistent with everything we do across the board.
Jake, what's your one quick thought on what you want to see?
I mean, that's such a good answer. I can't really compete with it. I want to see the Ravens play their best version of football. I still want there to be other levels that they can get to this season, but I want to see all 3 phases. Give me another Chargers game with just a higher end game from Lamar. I mean, I'll take the score. I'll take the same exact score, but I just want to see Lamar have a great game and in literally all 3 phases play well. That's all I can ask for. And if they do that and they come out on the losing side, I'll take it. But I don't think that would be the case. I think if the Ravens play all 3 phases for 60 minutes, I think they can win this one.
Me too, Jake. So, Garnett, we are playing Minnesota, home of the very famous man that only needs one name. Heck, he went by a symbol, and that was Prince. You have any Prince lyrics off the top of your head?
Oh man, you got me good on that.
Come on, Garnett, it's Prince.
Purple rain. Okay, you see, you got that one.
Yeah, you don't have to be rich to be my girl. You don't have to be cruel to rule my world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that or a little red Corvette. Some. I can't think of the words. Go ahead.
It's 5 and dime in the secondhand store.
Yes.
Little red Corvette. All right, fellas, we're done clowning. We're wasting Jake's time. Look at him there. This man has things to do, and we're sitting here trying to sing. But go Dogs, right?
Hey,
all right. Well,
Garnett, you want to shout out your Braves?
Oh yeah, big time, man. happy. Chop on. We made it. We did it. Can't believe it. I can't. I'm still shocked. I know. Jason. We always talk about the glory days. Guess what? Glory is back, my man. So
Yeah.
I'm happy, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a mascot that runs a 4.3 too. I saw that coming out the gate. What crazy. How'd you
Right.
get the job? I run a 4.3. That's how I got the job. And hey guys, we have a lot of fun on this show, especially at the end. But man, I'm gonna have to talk about something serious real quick. And I just thought of this, but it's been on my mind. And that's the passing of Ravens M. Somebody that we all interacted with, somebody that brightened our days every day. Emily Jane passed away tragically at a young age. I had never met her. I had just interacted with her, but it's the first time in my life that I really was upset, and it really took me back, and I really had to have a moment to myself over somebody that I had never met in person. I had never saw on TV. This wasn't somebody I watched like a sports star or a musician or actor. She was just somebody that always had something nice to say to me. And when, and rightfully so, a lot of women out there are very skeptical about interacting with men because, let's face it, a lot of us are scumbags. But
True.
Emily Jane could recognize character, and she would DM me, and she would be, saying, "Hey, I noticed you got this person on your show. Hey, I noticed you got Garnett and Jake. I noticed you got Randy and Knox and Jameel, and a lot of these people who really didn't have a platform at the time." And she saw what I was doing, bringing stuff together, and she reached out to me and thanked me for that. And seeing her pass and seeing the effect, and then having other people in the flock guys say, "Well, she said this to me, and she said this to me." It was just a really sad day when we lost her this week, and I just wanted to say God bless Emily Jane and her and her family. Really, just praying for her. And she was really, really struggling there towards the end with some death. So, Emily Jane, I love you, and I won't forget you.
Same.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Football is family. Love my football family. Emily Jane embodied that. She was the true example. So, with that, we'll see you next time. Thank you, guys.
Peace.